What is going on, y'all? This is the Caveman. I'm here with Football with Oz Austin for episode 53 of Against the Blitz. And now that week one of preseason is kind of wrapping up here, we decided to do a recap, a winners, losers video podcast about who we thought actually was impacted, who showed out, who flashed, and who kind of has people shaking in their boots a little bit about what their outlook could be in 2025. And we're going to go by game and give you the kind of overview and brief winner loser for every game that was played this week. And there were a lot of them. Like, I'm not somebody that typically overreacts to preseason, but the more and more you pay attention to the draft and, players that were taken for, high in the respective draft class, it does make you pay attention to these moments more. And that's what I've been coming to find this year.
Yeah, I think it helps put context on things too. Like, the more you look into prospects and the more you look into signings, you kind of understand the context behind them. It's like if you see a guy struggle, usually there can kind of be an understanding. Like if they got a new coordinator, or they're not supposed to be running with the ones, but they did anyways and they struggled. And that's partially what we're trying to do here too. Is like we'll go over guys that exceeded expectations and guys that failed to meet expectations. But we're also going to try and calm you down a little bit. If your new rookie quarterback didn't quite look how you thought, we can also hopefully kind of shed a little bit of light onto maybe why that happened, and not just that he sucks and he'll never be good ever again.
Yes, that does matter, because as much as I feel like I'm overreacting to the preseason, even a little bit, it does not compare to some of the shit I see on Twitter the internet. It's like people freak out over this time of year, even training camp. I always say it every season. I cannot stand training camp because all of the clips that come out of it mean nothing. Everyone freaks out about camp. Everyone freaks out about the clips they see and the fights that happen. It's like, it's just people yearning for the game, which I get because it's been a while, but
I have been yearning. That's why I had split screen games last night on my laptop, a game on my phone and a game on my TV. So I had 4 games going at the exact same time last night, around like 7:30 to 8, and it was insane. But I had to. I didn't shower till like 11 p.m. because I couldn't get up. Like I was like, we're just gonna sit here and smell horrible.
I had to watch
every game.
There was just so much football. I feel like maybe we've just been out of it for so long. It doesn't feel like I've watched that much football that intently in a while. Like, of course, more so on Thursday, I was watching every game, and there were only 3. And then come Saturday, it's like there's just football everywhere, and it was kind of like I get overstimulated. I'm like, holy fuck, there's so much going on right now. But
like there was things that happened in like my own team's game that happened, and I didn't even realize it until I checked Twitter like the next morning, because there's just so much happening. Like I can't keep up with all of it. But we went back and we did our research. We looked at some stats. We looked at some film, and we kind of compiled the key moments of each game.
Yeah, so we're going to go pretty much in order of when the games are played, at least in terms by day. So we'll start with the Thursday games, and the first one that kicked off was the Ravens and Colts. So we'll have a takeaway, a winner, loser, and kind of segue it all together. So what was your main takeaway from the Colts and Ravens game?
Well, my main takeaway was that neither team had a quarterback that looked good at any point in the game for even 3 seconds. Neither team. Like, it was the worst game of quarterback play I have ever seen in a preseason. Like, not even late in the game, Daniel Jones struggled. Anthony Richardson forgot to check pressure and got his face blown off and his finger blown off. And then both Ravens QBs were horrific. So neither team can afford any injuries.
That's for sure. And that was one of my losers, which I'll kind of touch on, was Anthony Richardson. I mean, Daniel Jones didn't go in and light it up and like steal the job or anything like that. Quite frankly, didn't look great at all. But Richardson I think you just got to hang it up. I mean, everyone's going to talk about the competition for the next few weeks, but I think they just got to hang him up. Like, just call it a day. Anthony Richardson is an athlete playing quarterback, and I just don't think 3 years in, you don't need reps to be able to pick up pre-snap stuff pre-snap. At least you shouldn't 3 years into your career. Like, that's stuff that you should be able to pick up on just experience and practice, training camp. Like, those are keys that you just learn by being around the sport, not necessarily having to play. And he's just not getting it. He just doesn't get it. And it's going to lead to him getting hurt more in the future because he's just not football aware. And he's just going to continue to struggle. Like, it's your first preseason game and year number 3, and you're still making rookie mistakes. Like, I don't think playing 16 games this year is going to change that.
Yeah, like I'm not going to compare him to Lamar, obviously, but you see it with guys like Lamar. Like how often do you see Lamar get hit very hard? It's very frequent because he just has an understanding of the game. He's played it for so long at such a high level that like he doesn't get hard. He doesn't get hit hard. He understands how the game is moving around him. He sees it slow, and he doesn't get free pressures like that because he just sees the game well. But someone like Richardson, like he just hasn't played enough football at all. And he doesn't understand what he's looking at or feeling around him at all because he just doesn't have the reps. So he didn't pick up David Ojabo, the 260-pound freak athlete edge rusher. It wasn't even coming from his blind side. He rushed from the right tackle and smashed him in the face and dislocated his finger in the process. But it sounds like Richardson's playing next game, so he should be good to go. He's playing the entire second half?
I think
or the entire first half, one of those two.
I think Steichen said Jones is going to take the first possession or two, and then he's going to play the remainder of the first half.
That works. So he'll still be playing some like good, solid defenders probably. I like to see that, but yeah, he's definitely could be a loser of that game just for the sole fact that he just got blown up.
Yeah, that was bad. It's like at first everyone's like, "Oh man, the Colts offensive line really just did Anthony Richardson a massive disservice." Then you go and watch it back and you're like, oh no, Richardson's just a moron. He just had no idea that was coming. And you're right. It was not his blind side. That's the craziest part is he takes the snap. He looks to his blind side immediately and doesn't look back.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense. But
it wasn't like he didn't have an option of help either. Like they had the tight end on that side. Like that was the tight end side. All you have to do is just like, hey, tight end, please get that guy.
Yeah.
Or audible out.
Or throw it.
If you don't have the personnel for it. Yeah. If you're feeling that, you're like, oh shit. Hot route. Like let's move. But no, he just sat back there and got destroyed by like a man bigger than him. So RIP.
Well, my main takeaway from this game was the Ravens defense, speaking about them, they looked as dominant as advertised. Like the Colts certainly are not the best litmus test, but that doesn't change the fact that they went out there and they exceeded expectations, I would say. And they, from the perspective of who they just acquired, especially Mike Green, those guys, they went out and balled. Like Mike Green specifically, of course. He had 27 snaps, and in those 27 snaps, he had 4 pressures, 3 tackles, 30% pass rush win rate. Like, we knew he was good. I just don't think people were kind of fuzzy about what his role or what type of pass rusher he might be for Baltimore, because we've talked about it all throughout the course of the offseason, where it feels like the Ravens just always have a unit that gets pressure, not a guy that gets pressure. And maybe they finally do have that in Mike Green, and we know why he fell, but that doesn't change the fact that this was a steal for Baltimore. And it takes that defense to a whole nother level. I mean, they were playing excellent football last season, but this was like the one piece they could add outside of, a corner that really would put them over the top. And I think Mike Green could be that after seeing one preseason game. Of course.
I feel like it's safe to say the Ravens are like the greatest preseason football team of all time. Like I remember a few years ago, the Commanders squashed their record, but I feel like they had like 6 years in a row of just sweeping everyone.
I remember that.
They had to have won at least like 15 games in a row in the preseason.
Yeah, that was like 2 years ago. I forgot about that. Yeah, they were on like a 6-year streak of preseason wins.
Yes, it was pretty insane. It was insane. And then they barely lost because they had like Emory Jones in or something, and like that barely counted. But yeah. Every single year, like I feel like that is partially why I do give Harbaugh some credit for that team, because he gets everybody prepared. They barely ever looked lost. Like even like the UDFAs came in and looked fantastic on special teams. Everyone like seemed to know their assignments really, really well. It was just bad quarterback play was the only reason they weren't dominating from the start.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the other things that happened in this game was the LeJohntay Webster breakout, if you will. He was He was a big impact player as a return man, which is something they really didn't have last year. To my understanding, they cycled through a few guys. So maybe they finally found that. I think that was more a testament to how bad the Colts kick coverage was. But
Yeah.
still, nonetheless, like you said, the Ravens looked prepared. You could see the difference between teams that had their shit together going into this week and teams that really don't have their shit together. There's a clear dividing difference between the type of performance you see. And that kind of was the other point I had too, is like the one thing the Colts did prepare to do was get Tyler Warren involved. And I'm super excited to see him be a focal point. Like he played all 20 snaps with the starters. He saw 4 targets, one of which got called back, and they were making a focused effort to get him the ball in space for him to run after catch. So that's exciting to me. I'm super excited to see him be the centerpiece of this offense. I really think it could be a top 5 fantasy tight end season from Warren. So
yeah, I had Tyler Warren as my winner as well, and I didn't pick all my winners off of just who was like statistically the best that game. It's more about just like the big picture, and the big picture to me is that Tyler Warren, outside of Jonathan Taylor, is probably going to be the focal point of this offense. Like I think the receivers, Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, they're going to be secondary to what they're trying to do and running the ball and getting Warren the ball in space. And especially because they haven't had really much of a rack threat at all with any of their receivers, I think that Tyler Warren is scratching an itch in Sykin's brain that they haven't really been able to do yet. And he looked the part completely. So I was a big fan.
Absolutely. And the only loser outside of Richardson I had was Daniel Falele.
Yes.
The Ravens guard situation is in turmoil. And Falele,
cool.
Voorhees look decent. It just is like when you're comparing him to like what they have opposite of him, he looks a lot better. And Falele got fucking steamrolled, like literally steamrolled a couple reps against the
by
Colts.
Like a 280-pound hybrid edge D tackle player. And Daniel Falele is like what, like 380 pounds.
He's huge. He's like
the biggest guard in the NFL. Yes. Like him and Mekhi Becton are the 2 biggest guards in the league. Huge. And he got steamrolled. Like I know he's a great run blocker, and that's why they can't really afford to pull him because he helps Derrick Henry a ton. But if they didn't have Lamar back there, who's like the biggest sack avoiding wizard in the league, like if they had like Aiden O'Connell back there in the pocket or like Davis Mills, they would be screwed. They would be screwed.
Cooper Rush.
Oh my God, Cooper Rush. See, I think that was the thing that happened. This brick for feet, and he couldn't move.
Mm-hmm.
Got bullied.
He did get bullied, but that's really, I mean, the Ravens are, of course, one of the best teams in football, and outside of that potential guard situation, they really are so complete everywhere, and it's gonna be terrifying from the fan of an AFC team to have to go up against them week 1. I forgot the Bills play them week 1, so they always start. Do they start slow though? I feel like they're a team that does kind of start kind of slow.
The Ravens,
yeah.
they always take a loss in like the first 4 games. It doesn't make sense. Like the Raiders game this last year,
where
they lost to Gardner Minshew. I think they threw a weird pick to Spillane. It was a really, really weird game.
I think Falele was terrible that game too. I think that
would make sense because he was more of like a lesser known thing at the time. They were like, we're going to move this mountain from tackle to guard and see what happens. But now that he's had a full year to figure this out, he has no excuse.
No.
Like you have no excuse where you're like, oh, he's trying to figure out his footwork and that's why he got ran over. No, he just got ran over by a guy that's 100 pounds less than him.
Yeah, he has no excuse, but the Ravens at this point don't seem to have many other options. There's like Ben Cleveland and like the rookie tackle they drafted, who I think is still hurt.
Emory. Is he also Emory Jones? Did they have 2 Emory Joneses?
Yes, Emory Jones.
They had Emory Jones, the Cincinnati quarterback for a while, and then they got Emory Jones, the LSU lineman, who I thought always projected to guard as well. So, especially because they got Carson Vincent from Alabama A&M, who's a pretty cool tackle prospect. I don't think they're super attached to having Emory Jones play tackle, so he's probably a guard, and I think that he could probably compete for that spot. But they love Falele, and they hate Ben Cleveland too. They hate Ben Cleveland.
They love Falele, bro.
They love him. I don't get it, but to each their own.
All right. Well, we should probably move on. We always do this early. We spend so much time on like an early segment that we're like, We got to get going.
Yeah, we got to move.
So the Bengals-Eagles was the next game. And my main takeaway from this football game was that somehow the Bengals defense might be worse than they were in 2024. I don't know how that remotely could be possible. I get that trade in play, but I don't think he was making much of a difference in that game. They just got fucking steamrolled by Tanner McKee and company.
It was Josh Newton and DJ Ivey were just getting picked on over and over again. It was ridiculous. But like that's why I put Tanner McKee as my winner, because even though like the coverage wasn't good, there were some throws. I would say like 8 of his completions, Jalen Hurts was not completing. Like they were like legitimately like he was a surgeon.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, like the defense was bad. Like the run defense was bad when they put Howard Cross in there getting ran over. But like Tanner McKee was also really, really damn good in his own part, which is why it was just an unstoppable product.
Yeah, no, he was excellent. Like that was all the proof I needed to see that
Yes.
Justin Herbert wins 3 Super Bowls with this fucking football team. That's all I needed to, and that's with like Darius Cooper as their number 1 receiver. He balled.
Darius Cooper's like I wasn't super like well known to who that was before, but his college production was ridiculous. At like Tarleton State, he put up like 1,500 yards and 15 touchdowns in like his senior season. And he probably would have looked way better if he wasn't wearing like number 42 or something. Like if he had number 18 on, he'd be a first round pick in fantasy this year. But like, yeah, he was just picking on DJ Ivey the entire time.
Yeah,
and it was nasty.
And there's another receiver there. There's 2 receivers wearing numbers in the 40s. Darius Cooper and I can't remember the other guy. It's 41 and 42. And I'm like, did Tanner McKee just convert a 3rd down against a starting Bengals defense to a guy wearing number 41? I tweeted that out. I just couldn't believe it. And that was pretty much the story of the game. Like, this is really happening to the Bengals right now. And I was going to say,
like, the only thing that doesn't make me terrified is, well, they were still missing like half their starters. Like, they still only played a few. And they also have a new defensive coordinator. So every like thing that happened that was bad was like either one of our depth secondary players got mossed or a player just didn't understand their assignment, which is kind of like why their run D sucks so bad. Because it just didn't feel like the linebackers still really knew where they were supposed to be going. And like a lot of times, like they would plug like 4 out of the 5 holes incredibly well. And then like a linebacker would just forget about the 5th one and it would just get like a 15-yard gain. So like it was a lot of communication issues, I think. Also having 2 rookie linebackers that are going to be having a big role. Demetrius Knight wasn't great, but also was all mental. Shamar Stewart looked pretty good. I was happy about that. And I'm mostly happy because even though we're going to give up 50 points, if Joe Burrow looks like that to start off the year every single time, we're scoring 55.
Yeah. That was
like
fair.
That was like it looked like they were schooling like a little practice squad corner. That was Keely Ringo. He's competing for a starting role in Philadelphia. Like they were picking on him. Jamar Chase was jogging. They jogged around him. He didn't even sprint. He was
it really looked like a
him.
demonstration. Like when the coach and like the assistant coach are like doing a drill and like showing how the drills should look.
Yeah.
That's basically what it looked like they were doing. It just didn't even seem like they were trying. Like it was actually scarier than I think we're conceptualizing, to be honest with you. I think people are just like, oh, it's the Eagles backup, so who cares? But it's also like
that was
like who also cares?
Backup. That was a guy that's going to be like before they traded for Jesus, what was his name? Jacorian Bennett. That was their starting corner too on the outside. Like Keely Ringo was supposed to be a starting player on this team. And Adoree Jackson didn't look any better. So they're going to have to hope that Jacorian Bennett comes in here and locks down Jamar Chase. That's just going to be their goal. But
well, good luck to them. But
yeah. So main takeaway for me was like Bengals corners looked lost. Tanner McKee was the greatest thing I've ever seen. Were my 2 winners and losers.
Yeah, my loser was just the entire Bengals defense. My winners were Tanner McKee, Darius Cooper, I mean, Johnny Wilson just had tapped like 3.
Yeah, he had like 3 catches, all for like 20 yards each. And they were all like 0 ounces of separation, and all were just mossing some poor little 5'11" corner. It was insane.
I know.
Like the only one that was even played well was Josh Newton. He got the ball to like tip in the air, and Johnny Wilson still caught it. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, I think that was his first catch.
Yeah, he's caught everything.
He's just a magnet. They got the fucking Bengals starters got Johnny Wilson moving like Megatron, bro. It's so
It
over.
was insane.
It's so over. I'm sorry. I wish better for you, but this is just not good.
Well, we also have an offense, and it might be
Yeah.
the scariest offense we've ever had. So
Yeah.
I'll take it. And Dylan Fairchild also.
Yeah.
All pro guard.
All pro.
All pro immediately.
He was good. He was
Hall
good.
of Fame, maybe.
Oh, okay.
He
Yeah,
might be
you
a
know
Hall
what?
of Famer.
I'm rooting for it. If everything is going to collapse on defense, everything should be good on offense. It's just the yin and yang.
I think that's just what's happening. Like they sacrificed more defense
Yeah.
to get an even scarier offense. I'll take it. That's way more fun to watch.
It is more fun. That's true. For entertainment purposes, it's way more fun.
Yeah, like the Broncos game was the best game I ever went to in my life because it was just a shootout. Both Ravens games. It's so much more fun.
Mm-hmm. Well, what wasn't fun was being a Raiders fan for those that were out there, because the Raiders Seahawks kind of flipped the script. And that was my main takeaway from this game was the Raiders played the way that I kind of would have expected Seattle to play and vice versa. And it was bad. Like the Seahawks, for being ran by a very experienced coaching staff and organization, like who they brought in, I expected them to look more prepared and I guess just better overall. And it looked like they had their shit out of sorts. And that's kind of what I was talking about when it came to teams that looked like they were ready for this game and teams that looked like they were not. And the Raiders fell under the ladder.
Yeah. I mean, this is partially why, I'm not going to overreact. It was 3 carries for Genty, but this is also partially why I was so big on, I'm not a huge Genty fan in the first. Get the offensive lineman, and you can get Travion Henderson in the second round or someone of that caliber, because it does you no good when Genty gets a handoff and just gets destroyed in the backfield. Like, it looks cool when he makes a guy miss for a loss of 1, but like that cannot be what your offensive line looks like week 1. And I know they had some other guards. They had Caleb Rogers in there, the rookie, who was responsible for the big loss, but I don't think getting like Alex Kappa back is really going to be the guy that fixes that. Jordan Meredith is cool sometimes, but yeah, I'm not super stoked with how that rushing game looked. And I know Gino didn't throw the ball much, but their passing game to their receivers isn't going to really be the main focal point of this offense. It's Genty and it's Bowers. And I'm sure it could have looked different if they had Bowers in there, a little bit more attention on him. But yeah, for a loser, I said Ashton Genty and his fantasy fans, because I think the offensive line is just not very good.
Yep. My biggest loser was absolutely Genty by a mile. And it's not his fault, of course, but
no.
For every reason you highlighted, it just is not good practice. I mean, we have both been saying it for months, before the draft, after the draft. Now we're saying it. It could turn out to be very bad practice to go with a running back when you're not prepared to support it. And that's the result. That's what you're going to get. And then you're going to see graphics like the one we saw of 3 rushes for -1 yards. And, I'm going to laugh because I think it's hilarious. But Genty fans, Raiders fans, this is going to be hell for them all season, having to deal with this, because when he turns out to have like a 3-year span looking like Ken Walker, which isn't bad, but having that type of career arc, like that's possible. He could have the Ken Walker career arc.
Ken Walker could have been a first-round pick. Like, he was a very good prospect. Kind of has the same build and play style to Genty too. Like, it would not be insane if he's just an elevated version of that, but that's not who you draft 4th overall. Like, and that's not what successful teams do. Like, you build up your offensive line, you build up your trenches, and until you can support that star running back, you don't go after him. The Eagles waited until they had the most monstrous line of all time to go get Saquon, and then they won a Super Bowl because of it. So I just don't think this is the right time to really go after your running back. Like, next year, getting Jeremiah Love in the first would have made a lot more sense to me than getting Genty 4th. But hey, whatever they like. Can't get too mad at it.
There was some good news, though, for Seahawks fans, of course. I think Clint Kubiak is going to put this team on the map, like, single-handedly, even though I think the defense is going to be good. Mike McDonald has like 8 potential Pro Bowlers on that unit. But obviously all the talk has been about the new faces on the offense, and it looked like a well-oiled machine. That's what that offense looked like. It was very refreshing because that was kind of what we saw from New Orleans, like this revitalized version of New Orleans early last season. And that's kind of the vibe I got from the offense that we saw in this game. Robbie Oots is like the NFL's biggest face right now. Everyone loves Robbie Oots. They got him in space moving. The offensive line was moving. And George Halani, right? He had a day.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what a day.
Oh, I've been on the Halani train for so long. I was trying to tell people, like, this guy kept Genti from blowing up until this past year because Halani was taking the carries. They had Genti as a receiving back because Halani was taking the carries. Like, he's a really damn good running back. That I was shocked was a UDFA and then got cut by somebody. Got picked up on waivers by Seattle, but yeah, he's a damn good player. And Torrey Horton was actually my main winner because I think that he's good enough to be the receiver 3, maybe even 2, if anything happens to Cooper Kupp on this team. So they made it a clear mission to get him the ball. He had 7 targets pretty quick. Caught one for a touchdown. I think he had 31 yards. So happy to see them pump the ball his way.
Yeah, and it wasn't even Torrey Horton, to me at least, in the pre-draft process, he struck me more as a reliable receiver, not necessarily the flashy type, but he had the skills to do that kind of stuff. And week 1, very first NFL game, he looked very sparky. There's a lot of spark to his game. I think that's the word I want to use.
He had some flash to him. He had some flair. Yeah. He was smooth. He's a smooth route runner. He looked good.
Mm-hmm. And that's what they need. They need some more flair as far as pass catchers go, because outside of JSN, it's old man Cooper Kupp and Jake Bobo. So they definitely need an MVS. These guys aren't flair flash. They're just kind of your role players at this stage.
Yeah. MVS is only flash. He has nothing secure about him. So Torrey Horton is the perfect mix after JSN of those two on that team.
Jamal Adams, was he a winner? Maybe he was the only Raiders winner.
He was probably the only Raiders winner. Isaiah Polamau had a really good pick, on the first drive. Outside of that, I don't think anybody in particular. Cam Miller, the rookie QB from North Dakota State, he was the best QB on the team that game. So good for him.
I will say that the Raiders shouldn't get all this credit for moving Jamal to linebacker, because I have been moving safeties like that to linebacker in Madden for the last 6 years. So they're way behind on that trend. If you want to give them credit, I fucking deserve credit too. And so do all the other Madden players that have done the same shit. I put Brashad Perriman at linebacker one year. It did not work, but I did it because I wanted a fast and tall user.
Brashad Perriman, the receiver?
Yes. Yes. I did not care about run support until I realized 3 drives in. I'm like, okay, this is not going to work. But
it's fine.
He covered a lot of ground in the middle of the field. That was my reasoning. But Jamal Adams at linebacker seems to be working, at least early.
Fun product, at least.
On. The Falcons Alliance game was the first game I picked out from Saturday. And this was one of those games that kind of got lost in the shuffle just because there were so many. But also, unfortunately, there was a not so great incident that happened with Maurice Norris, and I think he's recovering well. But it's scary. It was almost a Ryan Shazier kind of deal, the way the hit looked. Very scary stuff. So they suspended the game, and that kind of overshadowed basically everything else that happened. But
which was not that much.
Not much.
Yeah.
Nothing happened. This game kind of was very unfun.
And it's kind of what happens when neither team has a ton of really good depth. Both of these teams kind of rely on big hitters from the starters. So my loser, I put the entire Falcons depth on their offense. It was just the most boring thing I've ever seen, because their receiver 3 at this point is Kadarrell Hodge. He's the receiver 4, but these guys aren't fun for a preseason game. No. If Easton Stick out here moving the ball with Nate Carter, the running back, it was boring.
Yeah.
And the only winner that I put was Isaac Tesla. Because he only had 2 catches, 1 for a touchdown, but I think it also shows how damn good he can be if they put him in that receiver 3 kind of role, kind of take over for Tim Patrick and just be this next level threat that they haven't had in a while. That big body dominant winner.
Yeah, you like to hope that's what he turns out to be, because they certainly paid for him to be exactly that. Mm-hmm. So I do think it will work out, honestly, in the long term. I think it will probably work out that way. So it doesn't mean I like it. So it doesn't mean I'm happy with it.
If you would have just done a silhouette of him, I would have thought that was Alec Pierce. Like the exact way that he caught the ball, the exact like the size, the way he moves. He's white. I would have definitely thought that was Alec Pierce.
I did not think about Alec Pierce when I saw Tesla, but you're right. He does look like he's got that like non-good football player look, but like he's in all reality like good at football.
Yeah,
like
that's
kind
kind
of
of how they
Alex
go. Like
Caruso.
if you looked at Puka, you'd be like, he's a surfer.
Yeah,
but he's actually just like really good.
Yeah, he kind of looks like a lacrosse player or something.
Yeah.
My winner
That's
from
all I
this
had.
game. My winner from this game was just Easton Stick because I was kind of picking at a nothing burger here, but he honestly did kind of look not bad. Like he completed 15 passes on 18 attempts with 149 and a touchdown. Like a lot of people freaked out about a lot of quarterback performances this weekend. Ain't nobody talk about Easton fucking Stick, but he looked damn good.
Yeah.
He looked better than Heineke did, and that was who they replaced him with in LA. So I thought he looked good. Led a 2-minute drive for 6 points. That was my winner. My loser was really, I don't know, Jalen Walker, I guess. Like he kind of put up the
he didn't
TJ
have
Watt
game.
stinker stat line, so he didn't really do anything.
Yeah, like that's why it's so hard for like these defensive players because it's so rare to see any of them come in and be good immediately. But it just sucks as a fan to see like this guy who puts like so much capital in and he does literally nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I encourage people to have patience on these like rookie starting linebackers, edges, D tackles, but yeah, it's not encouraging at all to see that. So you just got to have a little faith, but definitely a good pick for that.
Yeah, especially when you kind of look around the rest of the league, and it did feel like a lot of rookies have been kind of popping out lately. And to see your 15th overall selection just kind of be invisible, not scary, but not necessarily as encouraging as you'd like.
Right.
So, yeah, with that game, really nothing happened outside of that awful
stinker.
Incident. Yeah. But the Browns and Panthers game was kind of the opposite. The Browns put on a beating, and that was probably the first time they've beaten someone by 20 points in like 18 years.
Oh my God.
Like,
yeah,
when's the last
probably
time
the Bengals last time, like 3 years ago. It's only when Jacoby Brissett's their quarterback. We beat them every other time, but Jacoby Brissett beats us every time.
Well, who was your biggest winner from this game? I feel like or your takeaway. I'm sorry. We'll start there.
Well, the takeaway, I think it was just that like they clearly have guys and a really good development plan for the guys that they love. So they were not they didn't really want to play all their starters immediately, but they wanted to play their young starters. Like they wanted to play Schlesinger and Mason Graham and Shador. Like they wanted to play the young guys that have potential. And I really, really liked how much playing time they gave all of them to really kind of get them on their feet, get them moving, because they need these guys to develop well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Schlesinger was the star. I mean, he was probably one of the brightest rookies from this week of preseason games. I think he led the team with 5 or 6 tackles. He was a force at the line of scrimmage.
He had like 6 tackles in I think he had 5 tackles in 6 plays.
Mm-hmm.
Like pretty quick. Like he was really, really good.
And that's what they need out of their linebacker group because I don't think it's great right now. If I can recall, outside of Schlesinger.
They had Jordan Hicks, who was a pretty solid player. And then a few weeks ago, he retires out of nowhere.
I knew someone like disappeared.
And they had a star in the making in Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, who suffered a pretty bad spinal or neck injury this previous year, and it looks like he's out for the year, or at least most of it. So they had to put good capital in Schlesinger, and he really looked the part mentally and physically week 1 of preseason. So his like 90-something PFF grade definitely matched what I was seeing.
What was confusing to me when it comes to PFF grades was Mason Graham got like a 47.
Really? I thought he was a bright spot for sure.
I thought he was fine. At the worst, he was fine. But a 47, like, I don't know. I saw more than a 47, at least from
he had enough flashes in any of his bad plays to kind of make up for that. I felt like he got moved off the line of scrimmage a few times in the run game. It happens when you're a rookie 300-pound D tackle. It happens.
Right.
But then he also had a couple really nice pass rushes, made a couple plays in the run game too. So I wouldn't be that worried about that.
Yeah, they charted him with I think he had at least one pressure I saw, and he got charted with none.
Okay. So. Well, their run defense grades suck. Like I remember Walter Nolan had like the second best run defense grade in the entire draft class. like over guys like Kenneth Grant and all that. It was ridiculous.
Yeah, that's weird because it really, like, I don't know. I did not see or hear anything negative about Graham, to be honest. And I went and looked. I'm like 47.
No, I
But
feel like the general feel from anybody that watched that game was like nothing special, but like definitely looked the part athletically of a first round pick at D tackle. Like definitely a promising thing there at least, and showed a little bit more upside than people thought he had. But I don't know. Definitely don't see a 47 there at all.
me either. But who did deserve a good grade was Shador. And I
Mhm.
got to give, I didn't hate on Shador. I wasn't one of those people that like really put myself in the conversation too
No.
much. But I do want to give him his flowers for stepping up to the plate under that kind of pressure. Like, all of the spotlight is on that kid. And
Hmm.
people want the dude to fail, for being honest. And he is somebody that, kind of, it's a testament to his character, and that's something that was a big part of the process, was the pressure he played in college against, physically and literally, will translate to the NFL. And I kind of thought that was the case. Like, bright lights, big moment. This is kind of basically where your story is starting. And if it starts any worse than it already had with all the drama and all the shit that happened with the draft, then you're off to a pretty rough start comparatively to other rookies. But he kind of bucked everything that people were saying, and he just came out and did something that I don't think a lot of rookies would have been able to handle. So good for Shador for that.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, I can't say I've ever been a Shador fan. Like I've never been like actively sitting there like doing the watch thing every time he gets a first down. But I feel um like anybody that's really willing to sit there and watch this like 23-year-old and hope that he fails, like kind of a loser. If you're sitting there like watching this dude be like, oh, he's a bust, total bust. This is not an NFL quarterback. Like if you're sitting there doing that to a 23-year-old because you don't like that he shows off his watch and that you don't like who his dad is, like that's some loser activity. And as much as I don't personally like him as much, I'm really glad that he at least showed he's capable of being in this league. Like he didn't go crazy. He had plenty of things to work on, obviously, but very much came away from a positive. And as much as like I had to push Washington as my winner because he was legitimately dominant, but I did put Dylan Gabriel as my main loser, mainly because he just didn't play. And because he didn't play, he let Shador get the step on him.
Mhm.
And now I think Shador has the pretty comfortable upper hand on him in the competition.
Yeah, that was also my loser. Well, not Gabriel specifically. I just wrote every quarterback not named Shador, because that was a big step in the direction of choosing their starter, was Shador going out there and having
Mhm.
a good performance. And it all comes to, this is something I talked about a lot in the draft process too, when it came to the Browns getting Shador, is like, Dylan Gabriel or like Joe Flacco or Kenny Pickett, like they're not selling tickets. Like no one's going to watch these guys. People will go to watch Shador. So if he is
Mhm.
even showing a glimpse of playing good football, they are 100% going to start him, because it will just be better business. It will be better for the team. We know how involved these owners are. They're going to want whatever the hell they can to get tickets and jerseys off the shelves. So I would think someone like Gabriel or Pickett or Flacco, I guess, like they would have to outplay him tenfold for them to be the guy over him if Shador continues playing like that.
Yeah,
But I don't foresee that happening. I think if this is Shador's baseline, he will be the starter for a majority of the season.
absolutely.
Commanders Patriots. That was another
This was my favorite game.
very, very impressive. I mean, another ass kicking. What was it, like 46-10
It was
or some
bad.
shit?
It
Like,
was really bad.
how is that even
And I
worse?
mean, I do know part of it is also partially because the Patriots had like their starters slash second teamers in like for a long time, and the Commanders didn't have any for any part of it. So like that is partially why they kicked ass so early, so quick. But like there was some guys on the Patriots that some young guys that looked the part.
Absolutely. I mean, my main takeaway was not necessarily, I had a hard time for that kind of exact reason, picking out like a team theme for this. Like usually
Right.
some of these other ones have been more about like, oh, the the Ravens defense looked great, or, etc. For this, it was kind of hard to do that because I just don't feel like we saw a fair product, I guess, from one squad.
Dominance.
So
Yeah,
it was
just
just
what it was.
so one-sided, and the Commanders were kind of just there. But my takeaway anyway, with that said, is Trayvon Henderson's role seems pretty clear to me. Like, I think he probably saw like pretty much close to the exact same amount of snaps as Stevenson and Gibson, which pretty much indicates like, yeah, this guy is a starting offensive player to some capacity. But it also means like the role we saw him in week one or this week on a preseason probably means he is just going to be that third down back. He's going to be the guy catching passes. Like, I don't expect them to really lean on him in any sort of rushing capacity, which from a fantasy perspective, it's what kind of concerns me. We were talking about we're in a fantasy draft together right now. And I don't know, I'm kind of weary about Henderson at his ADP now, just because unless you're in PPR, of course, but if you're not, he's not going to be rushing the ball too much, I don't think.
No. I mean, obviously it increases over the year. Like every single time a rookie running back, they start pretty slow. They work them in, especially once Ramondre Stevenson fumbles for like the fourth time.
Yeah.
I think it'll be pretty hard to have an excuse to keep him in. When Travion Henderson didn't fumble during college, and he's like the best pass pro back in the league already, damn near. So I think that he does play a little bit more than he did before, but he was my ultimate winner, honestly, because when you watched him play and you watch the other backs play, you're like, this person just moves different than everyone else on this football field. And it's the same thing I felt when I watched Jahmyr Gibbs for the first time. I was like, he might not be like getting crazy numbers initially, but this guy moves different than everyone else on this football field, and you could see it immediately. Also, not to knock that he had a 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown that started off the game immediately. So I would call him a winner for that too.
Absolutely. And I mean, other than that, I really didn't have too much else to take from this game. I think Trey Amos had a couple good plays for the Commanders, but otherwise, like we were kind of saying, it was somewhat tough to get a read on much because a lot of the players to watch from the Patriots perspective, I feel like we didn't see too much of. Like, I think Kyle Williams was he played very sparingly. I think he won a nice rep I saw on Twitter once, but it just was tough. And then the Commanders played like nobody. So they played.
Yeah, they had like only
Barrett.
Deep depth guys in. Like Sam Hartman's your starting quarterback for the game. I can't give the Patriots too much credit, for dominating like a legitimately like practice squad level team, because that's who was playing. But some guys looked good, and even the Patriots depth looked better. Like my guy Land Larison got his dues, got a touchdown, had a couple nice runs. Was nice to see. Got hurt though, which was sad, but
yeah,
beast. He looked good. Like guys like that were awesome. So Patriots depth, Terrell Jennings, they were running all over him. So good for them to see that at least.
Yeah, the biggest takeaway I had from this game, honestly, was figuring out that the Commanders have two players named Jacory on their team.
Yeah, what was it? It was Jacory, Krosky, Merritt, and Brooks.
Yes.
Yeah,
Jacory.
Both fun players too. Both were probably like some of the only bright spots on the offense.
Yeah, they were for this game, 100%.
Yeah.
What about Giants Bills? That was a fun one, and not even from a Bills fan's perspective. If you're a Giants fan, I think you're feeling pretty damn good right now.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. Like Jackson Dart was another one that I was a little bit vocal on too, where the people like the guys that like to try and watch and scout prospects, like Jackson Dart was a very hated quarterback by guys that sat down and watched his film and psychoanalyzed every move he made. And people were still trying to shit on him even after this game, but he looked good. He moved well. He's a good athlete, made a couple really nice throws. His touchdown throw was a beautiful toss. And I mean, against a pretty, I know it was backups, but it's a pretty sophisticated secondary nonetheless. Really good defensive coordinator. Made a couple nice plays. I would not be worried about what I saw. Didn't have any great weapons out there to throw to. He had Lil Jordan Humphrey that scored a touchdown. Like, it's not super exciting. So if Jackson Dart could get out there with Malik Neighbors, I'm pretty excited about that, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, my biggest winners from this game, or my main takeaway and biggest winners kind of meshed together, but the Giants rookies dominated, and Dart was one of them. Like that ball to Lil Jordan on that touchdown, like not only was it in a bucket, but he got smoked. Like he had pressure bearing down and he got fucking whacked. And he didn't care. And that's something that Jackson Dart was good at in college at times, at least, was just being able to stand in and take a hit to make a throw. And
He's
we saw
tough.
that right off the bat. Yeah, he is tough. Like a
Mhm.
lot of the film guys you were talking about and how they, kind of really picked at his game because of kind of the system he ran like that. The traits that you look for in a quarterback from that perspective weren't there. But if you're like more of a casual, just like pure football, like if he's got the dog in him or not kind of perspective, like he checks those boxes.
Yeah,
So
there are quarterbacks today with weaknesses that would blow your socks off if you really looked at like what they're bad at. But it's also part of the offense's job to set them up in a scheme that kind of like mitigates those. So there are some quarterbacks today that aren't very good at reading defenses, like especially guys that I've compared him to, like Jalen Hurts. Like he has existed in a way that makes him look like a very, very good quarterback, and they win football games. Like Jackson Dart, I think could play in a very, very similar, obviously not team because they're the most stacked team in the world, but even a similar play style. I think that'd be awesome. So good for him to see that. Didn't really have a whole lot of losers in this game unless I really wanted to nitpick somebody. Like I know some people were down on Landon Jackson a little bit. That's really about it. Like I wouldn't nitpick too far into this game.
I was fully expecting to have Mitch Trubisky on my losers list, but you know what? I got to give him credit. That
He
was the
played
first
well.
time I've seen him throw a ball more than like 15 yards in years.
Yeah, Tyrell Shavers, right? Had that huge like 60-yard bomb.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That
he
was
hit
awesome.
Shavers big. That's kind of the big talk with Buffalo right now is whether or not Shavers will
Oh my god.
make the team. I don't think that will end up happening, but he probably will get plucked. So that's the downside too. Is like if you want to keep him, you probably got to make room, but we just don't have room. So
Right.
he is a future commander.
Probably.
Wherever the hell he ends up.
A lot of teams need receivers, so
yes.
Fair.
But Abdul Carter also deserves a mention too, by the way. Like I think he played like 3 snaps and dominated all 3 of them. Deion Dawkins too.
Yeah. The exact argument that I had for Travion Henderson applies to Abdul Carter, where it's like might not have played that much, might not have had that many stats, but you could clearly see he moves the way that an NFL star moves. And that's all I need to see. I don't need to see stats. I don't need to see nothing. Just let me see that like they look the part. We can figure out the rest later, but he definitely looks the part.
Yeah. It still is mind-blowing how little time he's played that position. And to be like smoking Deion Dawkins the way he did, that's scary. Like if they didn't have the toughest schedule in football this year, then I think they would be, I mean, not a wild card team by any extent, but they would have a lot better of an outlook because of that defensive front alone. But they're just in hell this year. I feel so bad.
I feel like they could like Pittsburgh Steelers themselves to more games than we're thinking. Like maybe just defense and field goals. And like that's how we're gonna win games. Like they could probably hold some good offenses to like 10, 15 points and like they just score 16 and win. I think that's very possible. They do that a good handful of times, more than we're thinking, but yeah, it sucks.
Well, we'll move to the Texans-Vikings game. This one was very highly anticipated because we were getting to see J.J. McCarthy again since the last time he played in preseason last year. And it wasn't like the tough part from an evaluation standpoint from this is like it wasn't good, it wasn't bad. So it's just like you're still left asking questions. Like, what is J.J. McCarthy going to be? And that's not a bad thing, but it didn't answer anything, I felt like.
No, and preseason is not really made to answer anything. It's kind of just made to get people comfortable. And I think that people get pissy about preseason because they don't also understand that this is a time where people try out new stuff. Like they were going under center a ton, which is not really a thing that you ever seen from like a JJ McCarthy kind of style player. And it looked pretty good. Like he looked comfortable doing it. Like it looked like a pretty well-oiled machine. And that's why I had the winner as Jordan Mason, because I just don't see a team like this being a huge air it out team. Like I think they're going to run the ball a shit ton. I think that's why they made a big move for Jordan Mason, an $8 million move. And I think that he's going to be way better in fantasy and just in real life than people are giving him credit for.
Absolutely. He ran with the starters, carried the ball 4 times for 20 yards, and that is a pretty big deal. You know, Aaron Jones, at his age, given his experience, you don't expect him to really suit up or play much in this kind of game. But the fact that Jordan Mason was out there definitively with the ones and he got good work early on and he performed, like this is going to be an offense that runs through Jordan Mason, like you said, a lot more than people are expecting because Kevin O'Connell wants to run the ball. Like that's where this team is going to be successful, especially behind that offensive line. So we've been saying good things about Jordan Mason all offseason, and I think it's going to be very fruitful based on what we saw.
Yeah.
The Texans, I mean, Ursery kind of did decent in like 5 snaps, but other than that, there really wasn't much to talk about.
Graham Mertz was really bad. They drafted him really high, like the 5th round.
It was a Florida guy, right?
Yes, and he went 7 of 14 for 27 yards and 3 interceptions.
Oh, I did not realize
it was that bad. It was like that bad. Yeah, it was really bad. But Davis Mills looked really good, as he always does. He's a preseason demon, and he looks the part every time. I think he's just. I feel like he is in like the Tanner McKee boat, where like this guy could probably start for a team, but just like he's not the kind of guy you trade for.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of weird though. It's like, why? I always wonder that. Like, teams go into years with like desolate backup quarterback situations, but they're just okay with it. And then like guys like Davis Mills or like Tanner McKee are out there sitting on these teams. It's like, why not try to bother? And that's why, like, not to go back to Baltimore, but why Cooper Rush was the decision as the backup this year was so mind-boggling to me, because when Daniel Falele can't play and do his job, then you're fucked. Like, your offense is shattered, because that's what it's going to look like, what we saw. And like, why wouldn't they go and get like Joe Milton at the time that they were looking? Because Josh Johnson obviously wasn't their long-term plan at that time. So it's just as confusing to me, but it is odd. What game do I have next? Cowboys Rams.
Jaguars. Oh, you Cowboys Rams?
Cowboys Rams. What was your main takeaway for this one?
I was just pissed off if I was a Cowboys fan watching this game. Like, the run defense was still bad.
Yeah.
And they didn't throw a pass for I think 12 plays in a row to start off the game. Even though that was like their whole thing was saying they were going to run the ball and like figure it out. And they didn't. They actually, their first run was like play 8, and it was a Joe Milton QB sweep.
Yeah.
It took them a long time to even try running the ball, and it didn't go great when they tried. Joe Milton didn't look fantastic for like 80% of the game.
Yeah, it kind of looked bad.
But the winner I picked was actually Malik Davis. He's like the only running back that people don't talk about this team. And he played really, really well. He had 7 carries for 63, which is highly efficient. None of them were over 16 yards either. They were just chunk. And I feel like he looked the part, like physically, when you watched him. It wasn't just luck. So I think he's a sleeper to kind of sneak into this roster.
Well, we've been wondering like what that backfield will end up looking like. And like, will it be Phil Maffa that kind of breaks his way in next to Jaden Blue, or, with Javonte Williams too, or will it end up being Malik Davis? Like, no one really, like you said, talks about Malik Davis.
And Maffa looked fine too. It was just, he's your typical like recent Latavius Murray type of back, just hard, tough yards and nothing much more.
That interception, who's that Dallas defensive back that came down with that? It was Israel Makumu. But anyway,
is that you're looking at?
Yeah, he Stetson Bennett just like threw a fuck it down their ball, and he ripped it right out of whoever it was intended for his hands. That was probably the most impressive play of the game that I can remember. And outside of that, it was just kind of Joe Milton stinking it up out there. Like, I think the first 3 passes were all incomplete, and then his 4th pass was a completion, but it lost a yard. So
it was bad.
Stink.
And he was playing like the depths of LA. There wasn't a single starter on that team. It was, and their depth isn't that good to start with. Like, it's not a very good depth team. They're very much a starters team. So not a good look for any of Joe Milton's fans. And yeah, that's why I didn't have Joe Milton quite as the loser. I had Joe Milton fans as the loser, because they're insufferable and they're more sad than Milton is.
Yeah, LaShawn McCoy is in shambles right now. LaShawn McCoy
yes, Dak Prescott would not have been that bad. Promise. Promise.
The Steelers Jaguars. This was another game that I personally didn't feel like had too much happen. Like,
no,
not that I really caught.
No, it was like it was fireworks in the first 3 drives, and then absolutely nothing for most of it. And then Skylar Thompson against the Jaguars practice squad was like peak Brady. But we've all watched Skylar Thompson, and we know he's not very good. So Like you can't put too much into that. The only real thing I had was Caleb Johnson was slightly worrying, but also like they just ran him every damn play. Like they kind of just stacked the box on him and hit him in the backfield every play. So not really a ton to talk about there.
Yeah, I think like the biggest thing I saw about that game was Caleb Johnson stiff arm Travis Hunter at the line of scrimmage, as you would expect, probably.
Yeah, like
And people are like
220
freaking
pound
out
back.
about it.
Yeah, he's a power back versus a like the skinniest corner in the league. Like yeah, shocker. He still had like 2.5 yards per carry on the game, so definitely not encouraging. But I mean, I outside of Saquon, I can't really go back to many like superstar running backs that had great preseason debuts. A large majority of them kind of have sucked, and then they just end up playing really well later. So not too worried.
Yeah, this game was kind of a nothing burger also from me. But the Titans-Bucks game wasn't so much. Cam Ward was once again not televised or talked about nearly enough, but still he did look good. Something that Theo actually pointed out that I didn't notice because I really didn't catch much of this game either, but the depth that Cam Ward drops at. I don't know if you saw him talking about that at all, but he went back 12 yards a few times.
He doesn't really have like a true time to drop back. He just drops back as far as he feels is right. Like most quarterbacks have like a specific number in their head that they're trying to hit, and it's rhythmic. It's like a dance. And then they're expected to, like, once they hit that number, their clock starts and they got to get the ball out at a certain time. And Cam Ward gets the ball and then music plays in his head. Like he has AirPods in when he's playing football, and he drops back and then like classical music starts. And then everything is in slow motion. It's like, I don't know if anybody's ever seen like the movie Kingsman, but like this guy just like basically like kills everybody in this church into like when it's like slow motion. It's insane. That's kind of what happens in his brain when all this shit happens, because it's insane. But he was definitely my winner because he was also untelevised, and no one really talked about the first overall pick quarterback having a pretty good game. And then the loser was Tim Boyle, but also the winner was Tim Boyle because he's also somehow employed still after going 4 of 13 for 24 yards and 2 interceptions. It's like the worst quarterback performance I've ever seen. And he's still getting paid more than I'll ever see to be the worst football player of all time.
There will never be a time in my life where you catch me putting the word loser next to Tim Boyle. That guy is a winner forever.
That's why I had to put winner in there too. Like he was obviously by far the worst player on the football field, and it wasn't even close. But he's also a winner because at the end of the day, he probably goes home to a good-looking wife and a really nice house. And he's the worst person at his job in the entire world, and he still gets to do it.
I firmly believe that if I was as bad at my job as he is at his, I would have been fired like 3 days in. Like,
I would be homeless today.
I would be homeless.
I would make no money. I would get evicted, and I would probably be on crack right now. Yeah. But Tim Boyle gets to be a millionaire, and he can eat wherever he wants. He can do it. He probably has a really nice car. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like just because he's tall and people like him in the locker room. Like, I guarantee you can find tall guys to be good in locker rooms. Like, you don't need Tim Boyle to do it. Why him? Why like the kid from UConn that wasn't even good in college? He was terrible in college. Like, I don't think he's ever thrown more touchdowns than picks at any level of football in his career. Ever. I'd love someone to fact check that. I don't think he has.
No, I think you're right. I think that is a stat that I saw because I think it was like after the Ravens game last year where people were like, we have to investigate this guy. Like, how is he in the league still? And I think that was one of the stats that came out of that investigation. Like, he just was never good.
He threw 1 touchdown in college.
This is who does he know?
I don't know.
It's all about, that's what they say. It's not about what you know, it's who you know. That's what they say. And Tim Boyle definitely knows the right people to be hanging around still.
Yes, he has never thrown more touchdowns than picks in his entire, even counting college career.
That is insane.
And he's been in the NFL for like 8 years.
Well,
not to have a whole Tim Boyle rant or anything, because we still have like 5 more teams left. But ridiculous.
This game, outside of the Cam Ward stuff, I really didn't feel like there was too much either. I mean, Kyle Trask, I always will find it hilarious that Kyle Trask, like, I feel like he was never worth the pick that they used to get him, and that just will never be the case. And now he's just this long tenured backup for a second round value for what?
Him and Hendon Hooker did like the exact same thing, like a year apart, and it looks the exact, and it was just as bad at the time. Like everyone knew, like Kyle Trask had like no upside, like mediocre arm, like bad athlete. He's just tall and had good stats because he threw to Kyle Pitts in college. But he did look pretty, pretty efficient, pretty clean. Like Buka bailed him out once or twice, but overall it was a pretty solid game. Not much else after that.
No, not really. But there was some funny moments that came out of the Chiefs and Cardinals game.
Oh my God. That's why I put the loser as Kyler Murray. Outside of the one pick, he was actually pretty sharp, but no one gives a shit because ultimately he threw the dumbest pick ever. So he's still the loser in everyone's eyes.
Do you remember
and
that
mine?
throw?
Not touching my fantasy football team.
Do you remember that throw that Deshaun Watson threw a couple years ago? I think it might have been the last time he played with Cleveland, where it just went directly to a defender. Like it looked like he purposefully threw it to him. That was exactly what
I feel like I was at one of the. I mean, he definitely did it against the Bengals at one point. I remember this like distinctly. I was in the stands.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember he threw it directly to Dax Hill one time, but
I think it was.
He probably did it multiple times.
I think that's the one I'm thinking of. But Kyler basically looked like he did the exact same thing. Like literally just lined up a throw for the defender.
Well, apparently it was a failed no look pass, which just came out like his head was actually like staring directly like at midfield, and tried to sling it cross body over to the left, and it just like was really really bad. But regardless, no one cares because not that many people are going to look at that video and they're just going to say Kyler Murray sucks because he's playing too much Call of Duty. That's all it's ever going to be associated with him. It's so sad. Like, look at this little tater tot run. Look at him trying to throw the ball. It's so sad.
Well, other than that blunder, I mean, Will Johnson, as great of a camp as he's had, he did kind of have a little bit of a wake up call, I would say, in this game. I think I think there was a DPI or a holding that
he had a DPI
called for.
But he also didn't give up anything either.
No, he wasn't bad, but he definitely was kind of thrown to the wolves a little bit and probably struck him a little tough. But he still, I think, is going to also end up being one of the biggest steals of the draft. It's like there's been no health concerns out of camp that I've read or heard about. He's
been
fine, playing
shutting down Marvin like all off season. So
yeah.
I would be pretty stoked. Like the pass interference was probably pretty annoying, but his actual coverage, like he didn't get beat by anybody at any point. No catches, no yards, no nothing. So overall, a pretty sharp start for Sub-Zero. I learned is his nickname today, which is kind of sick.
I did not know that.
His number is 0 too, which is why it's kind of cool.
Sub-Zero, that is dope.
That's the sick ass name, actually.
Yeah, it is. Especially if he's good. If he ends up being good.
Yeah.
Because then there's Sauce, Sub-Zero. I feel like
corners need cool nicknames like basketball players.
Yeah, like I feel like there's a few with cool. Maybe not outside of Sauce. I guess who else is there?
Sauce is like a nickname's only really good if that's how you're like referred to as a person. Like Prime Time. Like if I say Prime, you know who I'm talking about. If I say Sauce, you know who I'm talking about. But like PS2 is boring. That's just your initials and your number. That's lame. Sub-Zero is sick though. But like Weapon X for Brian Dawkins back in the day was badass. Nothing else that great.
No, not for DBs. Other than
I might get to work on that later. Night Train Lane. This is what I'm talking about. Like there are corners that like if I say Night Train, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying Dick Lane, even though that's his name.
People probably don't even know. People watching this, do you think they know who Night Train Lane is? Maybe
they have to know. They changed rules because of that guy.
Yeah,
he used to clothesline everybody back when football was black and white.
Well, he's also a big Madden guy every year, so
he always was. Yeah. I don't know what caused that.
I don't either. Very, very interesting. Well, the last few games we'll touch up on the Jets and the Packers game. We my biggest takeaway from this game was the fact that the backfield looked exactly how I expected the backfield to look. And that's very bad for Brees Hall fantasy value and potentially even his future in New York. Like, he could be gone at the deadline easily.
I think he should be. I think Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis work really well together. And then Brees is just this guy that doesn't make sense for their current scheme. Like, when he was running the ball, it didn't look like it had any, like, there was nothing there. But then Braylon and Isaiah Davis, like, clearly complemented each other very, very well, while Brees was just there.
Yeah.
But you could also get a pretty good haul for him, too, in a trade. So, like, I think that would be smart. But the offensive line, outside of a few blunders, looked pretty good. And I think that it looked really good for Fields. The play calling was really good. And this is the kind of offense I've been wanting Justin Fields to be in for a long time.
Yeah, it was kind of the offense that we thought maybe he could be a part of when he was with Pittsburgh. But I think the problem there was just the fact that the offense wasn't designed for him at the end of the day. Like, they had Russell Wilson, they had him chalked up as their starter regardless of how Fields played, and Fields just kind of had to make it work. But now this is really his team with an organization that clearly has a good head on his shoulders, like going back to that whole teams that look prepared versus teams that didn't. The Jets were one of the teams that looked like they had their shit together.
They did.
And I don't know. I don't think I'm not going to say I'm high on the Jets, but I am higher on the Jets than, the field of
consensus.
Consensus. Thank you.
I agree. That's why my loser was also Packers defense, because they had a lot of their guys out there. Like, it wasn't, I mean, it's not a full team of starters, and I'm not going to fully hold it against them, but they had the same defensive coordinator, a lot of the same players, not really much of an excuse to not look sharp. And they let Justin Fields in his first game as a Jet throw and run all over him with a pretty bad receiving core. So definitely a lot of work there. Maybe receiver Bo Melton can shape up at corner, because he got beat a couple times. So not looking good for them. Jordan Love literally couldn't do anything.
Dude, I just looked at the numbers now. He fucking threw 5 passes, completed 1 for 7 yards, and took a sack.
I think Matthew Golden caught the 1, because he's the only receiver worth a damn that was out there. So Matthew Golden, stocks are up. You caught the only pass Jordan Love threw. That was the completion. But everyone else, jail.
Yeah, this was bad.
That's why I know Josh Jacobs or whatever. So, clearly, I'm not holding everything. 5 passes isn't much of a size to, not much of a sample size. But yeah, not in love with what I saw.
Well, for the Broncos and 49ers, it was kind of a similar story. Just a one-sided kind of beatdown. Like, there were a lot of beatdowns in the preseason. There always are, but this week there were a lot of 30-plus point, 20-plus point beatdowns, and this was another one. And 49ers just didn't show up, I guess. Which I get. They were another team that really didn't play much of their guys at all, but they don't really have a lot either. They're just kind of hurt everywhere. So this might be closer to what we see in the regular season than we're expecting.
I am going to super early victory lap my Jordan Watkins pick that one time for our super deep receiver sleepers, because he caught a 50-yard pass to start off the game. It looked awesome. But yeah, aside from that one play, no one on the Niners did anything. I think that they actually the Niners defense looked really good against the Broncos starters. Bo Nix kind of sucked. RJ Harvey looked like he didn't know where to run. He looked as electric as advertised, but if you count how many times he bounces a run outside when there's a gaping hole in the middle, I will lose my mind. It's so annoying. Sutton didn't do much. Evan Ingram didn't do anything. So overall, Broncos offense looked scary, to be a Broncos fan and see that, but it's just growing pains, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, there really wasn't. Mac Jones, 4 for 7 for 74 on a pick with 2 sacks. A guy named Carter Bradley.
Carter Bradley
played football.
South Alabama's best.
How do you even know where a guy named fucking what's his name? Carter Bradley played?
You're talking about you're gonna talk Tanner Mordecai.
Quick pop quiz. Where did Junior Bergen play?
I don't even know who Junior Bergen is.
Yeah, he was a receiver that had a target for the 49ers.
Wait. Wyoming.
No way. Do I got to fact check this right now? I was kind of hoping you just
total guess.
Oh, no, it wasn't. Montana.
It was a total guess. Oh, yes. because he was picked in this like the 7th round. I remember him being picked though. He's like only a return specialist. He had like 500 yards in college.
Yeah.
But yes, I remember him now. Yeah, not much in that game. This was admittedly one of the games I didn't watch much of. But yeah, beat down.
Jarrett Stidham was 14 for 15 for 136.
He was
touchdowns though. Talk about.
He was. What if he's better than Bo Nix?
Has he played a full season, didn't he? Did he? I was gonna say he never got a fair shot, but I think he did.
He played like with shit.
Yeah.
Like, imagine if the ball was just like really slippery all the time. Like that's kind of how it felt like when he was playing that one. There was nothing helping him out.
Mm. Well, there was not much helping out the Dolphins in short yardage this week either, because today we witnessed, I think it was like 6 or 7 straight plays of the Dolphins on the 1 yard line and two different drives where they got stuffed just continuously.
Well, I think they figured it out.
They did score eventually,
and it's because Ollie Gordon.
Yeah.
And we said this last time we were talking about the AFC East podcast when Tyreek Hill was talking shit about Devon Achane being their short yardage back, and he's like, just put Jalen Wright in there. He's a power back. He was the worst one of them all, like by far. Then they shoved Ollie Gordon in there. Phenomenal short yardage back. Like that's what he did in college. That's his bread and butter.
Mm.
He's like peak Latavius Murray. You couldn't stop him for 2 yards, but yeah, Tyreek Hill's such an idiot.
Yeah, I know that was hilarious, but it is funny that he was the one that eventually scored and Jalen Wright wasn't. He literally Jalen Wright had
actually
9 carries for 16 yards. That was Jalen Wright's stat line.
I watched so many times where Jalen Wright had like a full steam heading right for the first down marker, and he got pulled from behind. Like he was grabbed by the waist and pulled backwards. Like, how as a running back are you letting that happen? Like you're just getting pulled backwards? That's so sad.
It's like the screenshot.
Ollie Gordon looked great though.
It's like the screenshot of when Tony Pollard got tackled, like when he was walking into the end zone but somehow doesn't score. That's the funniest screenshot of all time.
Yeah, like Marion Hamp did that last week and had like his ADP dropped by like 6 points. Rightfully so. Like how the hell like you're supposed to be like the next Jonathan Taylor. Jonathan Taylor would have ran right through that. He would have scored. I don't understand. But yeah, that was rough, but hopefully they can get it together. It seemed like they did towards the end. Jonas Avenaya struggled early, but then really got it together and had a hell of a game towards the end. So good for them to see that. Quinn Ewers, man.
Dude.
That was so bad.
Bro, Wilson and Ewers were so bad. Like Wilson went out there and stunk it up, but then Ewers somehow made it look like it was fine.
Because at least Zach Wilson had the production to back it up. Like he at least had like 95 yards and only a few passes. Like statistically, if you looked at the box score, he had a good game. He was just missing a couple easy layups. But like I remember Dolphins fans seeing that on Twitter, and they were like, "Just wait till Quinn Ewers comes in. He's gonna look so much. He's gonna look so much better than Zach Wilson. He was 5 times worse. He was so much worse than Zach Wilson was."
I was actively watching like my Twitter feed while that game was being played because I was in the car. And I saw a few plays of the game on my phone, but people were literally like live tweeting, like, just put Ewers in. Like, Ewers has got it. And it's like, no.
Yeah, he was so much worse. It was awful. Because he at least Zach Wilson can scramble around for a while and try and make a play. Ewers just gets just humped from behind. He fumbles the ball. Like, it's so bad. He does. He fumbles every time he gets touched. It's so annoying.
Well, if you had any question about what type of offense they're going to be this year, I think they were answered. Tua had 6 attempts for 27 yards.
Yep.
So
it'll be condensed. I mean, obviously with no Tyreek or anything, it'll be a little different, but still.
The Bears side of things, Kyle Monangai, right? That's how you say it.
Kyle Monangai.
Monangai. He was the story of Chicago, I thought. He ran very hard. He kind of fit that description of potentially being that Jamal Williams behind DeAndre Swift, or being that short yardage guy or that goal line guy. And that was kind of the role that we had talked about before that he could potentially take over in. And who knows, maybe if DeAndre Swift goes out there and completely blows ass, I think he can definitely outperform Roschon as is. And who knows what his path will look like this year. I think there's a wide range of possibilities for Kyle's future in this league. Like, for being a 7th rounder, he's got a pretty bright outlook.
Yeah. Ben Johnson hates DeAndre Swift too. Like this is not a secret, and like it would not be shocking if they were just really happy that Kyle Monangai fell that far and picked him because they're like, yeah, this guy could probably beat out the two bums that we have in there right now. And they're not bad, but like for a team that wants to establish a powerful run game like they did in Detroit, I imagine Kyle Monangai would probably be your guy for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not Swift.
No, it's not. But yeah, the only other game that wrapped up as we were recording was the Saints and Chargers game. And the only thing I really saw from that game was Trey Lance running a touchdown in and Tyler Shuck throwing the most egregious pick six I've ever seen. So
He threw a touchdown though. After
maybe
that,
I'm hating
the pick wasn't like the worst thing ever. It was also just a really good play.
Yeah.
But like I forget the kid's name from Rutgers, but they had a really good play. Obviously, I'm not Team Shuck, so I'm not going to defend him too much because it was a bad throw. It was a bad read. Rattler completed a lot of his passes for like its average of 3 yards per attempt, and then Shuck did like the exact same thing, but scored and threw a pick. So either way, if you're a Saints fan, you have both of your potential starting quarterbacks coming into this game and basically gaining like 30 yards out of it total. I would not be that excited about it. Kendry Miller had his chance to, look like the Kamara replacement. He also kind of stunk. So the future does not look that bright in New Orleans right now. With two young quarterbacks, neither of them very good. Young running backs don't look that good either. No depth, like at all. The starters aren't even that good either.
No money.
No money.
They have nothing.
No fans.
No fans, no money, no football team, no quarterback. There's
no drip.
No,
their new uniforms look bad. Everything about this team, like they're wearing khakis. Everything about this team is just bad. Like this is how bad football teams are ran, and maybe Kellen Moore can revive this team because he's a coach I think could do that, but I wouldn't put a lot of money into it at all. Tank for Arch Manning next year.
I can't believe living, breathing humans like defended Tyler Shuck 40th overall.
Joe A, the Twitter user I argue with sometimes, actually had him at QB1, and he also had him as a high first round grade, and Shedeur Sanders as a 6th round grade. So,
hey, he was more accurate than a lot of people.
He was accurate.
In reality.
Yeah. Well, in reality, Shedeur Sanders looked a lot better than Tyler Shuck did. So,
right,
I wouldn't.
Yeah, that's kind of.
I wouldn't bank on that too much.
No, Joe A was
like imagine like how well Dart did and how well Shedeur looked. Then and even Milroe looked really nice. Like Milroe had some awesome flashes. Like he was the fastest player on the football field, including the DBs and receivers. But they're like, yeah, Shuck's our guy.
Yeah, I know,
and if Rattler beats him out, you're going to have 27-year-old Tyler Shuck next year in his first year starting, like if that's the case. But it looks like they're probably going to go Garrett Nussmeier next year because his dad's the freaking offensive coordinator of the team. Like, how could you pass that up? Or they tank for Arch Manning in 2027. Like, this team is so screwed.
They are, man. And I don't feel bad. I don't.
And their first-round pick was like Kelvin Banks, like the most low-ceiling pick they could have possibly picked ever. Like, I hate Mickey Loomis, man.
Dude, they need something to be excited about. They got nothing.
Anything. And like even if they had Milroe, like they're like maybe this team still sucks, but our QB's fast as shit. Like and he's it's gonna be like Prime Fields where he's really fast, a couple 80-yard runs here and there. It's really fun to watch. They're like, no, we're gonna get Tyler Shuck. He's gonna throw a pick six in his like first preseason attempt, and he's gonna be like 30 by the time we can like get a competent roster around him.
Oh man. Well, yeah, that was pretty much all that happened in week 1 of preseason. So if you guys have any thoughts, comments, concerns, debates, drop them down in the comments. And as always, if you enjoyed, be sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, and we will see you in episode 54.